Kicks 105.5. It is 7:49 on a, well, I'm not going to say it's a beautiful morning because it's kind of raw out there. 25, 30 mile an hour winds, 11 degrees.
I wasn't paying attention. I was more concentrated on getting here alive today.
Hey, yeah.
So
And
I had
the
some
roads are
snow
a
on the
little
windshield this morning that I wasn't unable, it kind of fell in.
Yeah.
And it kind of caked on, so I tried to turn the wipers on as I was driving in, and I got to watch both wipers in my wife's car fly over the car.
They were frozen down.
Apparently, I should have paid much closer attention.
I was busy having a wreck. I didn't notice.
So I'm a little embarrassed by the people who saw me driving in this morning with snow on the windshield, while me peeking like a fool. But it's one of those things that just happens on occasion.
Both of the windshield wipers broke
at the same
off
time
and went over the top of the car.
It freaked me out. It really did. I'm like, I'll just toss the wipers on real quick, clear up that little spot that came down, and vroom, up and over the car. So
this is a newer car.
This is a new car, a couple of 2 or 3 years old. Yeah. So I'll just go to the dealership and say, hey, I need some wipers today.
So did it break? Is the arm still there?
Oh yeah, no, it's just the actual wiper blades themselves. So the arms are fine, but apparently they weren't connected very well.
Did you put those on?
I must have. Hence me saying I will go to the dealership today.
Well, I tell you what is really funny because I just did this for our cars recently. And when you buy these wiper blades, they have all these adapters and pins, and you got to look at the style of end of your windshield wiper arm.
Yep.
And I could not get one of them to latch in at all, but I pulled it in snugly, and it seems to be holding. It sounds like you did the same thing.
Just be careful if it's frozen at all.
Sounds like maybe you did the same thing.
I think I did. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's interesting to know.
Yeah. So, this was a case of not practicing what I preached this morning. So,
right.
For those who saw me, yes, that was me. I'm a fool. So.
All right. If you caught a wiper blade this morning.
Oh, yeah. Came off Val Davis's car, license plate number.
So let's see. I told you I got a call from a listener.
Yes.
Who has livestock, but these are more pet livestock than anything else. And she wanted to know about coverage to cover said animals.
Sure. And that really brings up a broad
whole can of worms.
Yeah, big can of worms. So what we should start off with for livestock, companies have a comfort level of how many head of livestock you can have. Some companies, their comfort level is none.
So there's some who just won't insure
some
them.
that just really don't want any part of it. I mean, if you happen to get some cattle or a goat or two and you've been insured with them for a while, I'm sure that they wouldn't cancel you. But, if you're out there shopping and we go, oh, gosh, you've got 2 cow and a horse. Yeah, we shouldn't really put you with these guys because they're just not comfortable with that.
Right.
But there are companies, we, of course, represent a very well-known agricultural company, Cooperative Insurance, who has just a tremendous amount of experience.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
Right.
The farm and mini farm has been a big part of their business for the 100 years they've been in existence.
Okay, so we're not talking about farm. We're talking about somebody that has.
So we're starting off at the home level.
2 goats and a sheep and
a partridge and a pear tree.
Yeah, just pets.
Right. So
and what's covered if they have coverage?
Sure. So there's no automatic coverage. So we're going to talk about the homeowner aspect. So you have some livestock. So let's say you do have the 3 goats and a cow.
Right.
Okay. If you don't specifically endorse your policy, and this is a cooperative specific example, they have an endorsement that's pretty unique to the homeowner policy where we can actually put a value on and list your animals and give you some protection there.
Oh, cool.
Which is pretty sweet. And it's named peril coverage, most common with what you would see on a Form 2 policy. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah is all Val's hearing right now. But
my eyes are glazing over.
Yes, they totally.
Rolling back in my head.
Glazed donuts between around your nose there. But what we have is named perils coverage, and I'm going to miss a few because I haven't fully sipped my coffee. But fire, theft, vandalism, impact with, getting hit by a car. What's the other one? There's a bunch of them. Volcanic eruptions, my personal favorite.
You
Rider
mentioned
civil
one
commotion.
about drowning or something.
Well, so there are added animal perils included in that endorsement as well, and that adds on things such as accidental shooting. Of course, not you, but and nobody in your family. But if a hunter accidentally
shoots a goat, yeah.
Drowning, miring, and strangulation would be covered if you got this endorsement. Applies to animals over 30 days old. Drowning means suffocation of animals in liquid. just in case you didn't know. Miring means suffocation or death of an animal caused by being stuck in mire or other wet and mud-like substance.
Okay.
And strangulation means to choke.
Including muck, I assume.
Yes.
Muck and mire.
Muck and mire. Mire and muck. Muck mire. Also covers attacks by dogs or wild animals, but it does not include attacks by a dog or wild animal owned by you if you're the insured. And then it covers collapse. So let's say you've got them, especially this year, where the snow never went anywhere, it just stayed. So God forbid they were in a covered area, and you did the best you could, but and it collapsed on them. That particular endorsement would cover them too.
We had a goat 2 or 3 years ago that was attacked by a neighbor's dog.
That would have been covered.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that would have been covered.
That's pretty interesting.
Something else to think about is that not only would that have been covered, they would have said, well, who owned the dog? Because they would have, your company, if they had coverage, would have paid you. And then they would have said, well, give us the dog owner name. And they would have probably done what they call subrogation, depending on the amount of the loss, where they would go after the liability of the homeowner, of the owner of the dog.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's the answer to your question, Susie. You can get insurance for your animals.
Company specific. Depends on your company.
Is there anything that would cover like veterinarian bills?
So and that's a big one.
That becomes like animal health insurance.
More or less, absolutely. And the big thing here is the policies that we have with the agricultural type of coverage does not include what we call mortality coverage. So death by disease or natural causes would not be covered. But there are options available.
Endorsements.
Not endorsements. Specific monoline policies.
Oh, wow.
Separate from what you would have otherwise. We write them with the Hartford of all companies. And
are they expensive?
They can be. See, on that, it's totally dependent on the value that you're looking to insure for.
Right.
And it really doesn't cover vet bills so much as it covers the mortality, because at that point, there is a loss of potential income. So that really should be a conversation that you have to really go through the quoting process to get a really good idea. I'll be honest, in the 7 years that I've been doing this, and the 20 plus that my dad has, we've only had a few instances where we've even quoted that type of coverage.
Wow, that's interesting.
Because it can be pretty expensive.
Yeah. All right, very good. So you're a little smarter this morning. Good policies brought to you by the Barrett Insurance Agency, online at thebarrettagency.com.
And on Facebook, Barrett Insurance Agency.
And you have a phone.
Oh, yeah, I do. 748-5224. If you're giving us a call, we'll be open at 8:30 this morning.
All right. I'll talk to you next week.
Glad you're feeling better.
And I'll sound a little better even then.
All right.